Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how to register the birth of a Filipino child at the Philippine Embassy or Consulate. In this case, because we are in Tennessee, I'm going to show you the requirements and the process, the fees, and how long it takes for you to register your Filipino child at the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. Alright, first things first, you need to know which embassy or consulate is responsible for your state. And this is important because only that consulate will process your report of birth. I tried to register my son's birth at the Philippine consulate in Chicago. This was about 2 years ago, before all the craziness of the pandemic. But I was told that you can only do that at the consulate that has jurisdiction over your state. So, I mean, if pre-pandemic, we would have driven to Chicago, just to have a vacation and fun and all that, and then register our son's birth over there. But all of the consulates and the embassies are processing these types of transactions only by mail. So, in order to know which of the consulates or embassy covers your state, let's go to philippineembassy-usa.org. So once you open the website of Philippine Embassy, go to Consular Services and then Consulate Finder. Let's open that in a new tab. And then you can see here the list of embassies and consulate in the US. I'm not going to read all the states that are covered by each consulate or embassy. I mean, just take a look. Generally, all of them would require the same set of documents. So if you're watching this and you need to register the birth of your child at the consulate in Guam or in Los Angeles, then this should still be helpful for you. Now, what are the requirements that you need to prepare for this type of process? Now, let's go back to the Philippine Embassy website. Again, under Consular Services, go to Civil Registration and Report of Birth. Before we tackle that, you can register a Filipino child that was born in the US if one or two of the parents are Filipinos. It means that you and your spouse should not have renounced your Philippine citizenship, meaning you have not taken on American citizenship yet. Or if you did, then you should have reacquired your Philippine citizenship. So here you go. You need to accomplish 4 original copies of the report of birth form. You can just download this, print it out, and then sign it. You also need a cover letter. Don't worry if you don't know what to put in a cover letter. I have a link in the description below where you can download a sample cover letter, and then you can use that for your documents. You need the original or certified true copy of the birth certificate. This should have been issued by the Department of State of your state, or in the case of Tennessee, that's the Tennessee Office of Vital Records. And also, you need to have a copy of your marriage certificate. If you got married in the Philippines, this should be an original copy that came from the Philippine Statistics Authority. Now, you cannot register your child without this, meaning that even before reporting the birth of your child, you need to apply for this online. I haven't done that since coming to the US, but even before coming over, my wife and I made sure that we had a copy of our birth certificates, our marriage certificates, and that those came from the Philippine Statistics Authority. And make sure you have 4 photocopies of this document. Now, if you got married in the US, then you also need to have a report of marriage. If you haven't done that, then you also need to do the report of marriage together with the report of birth. I can't help much with this requirement that if the parents are not married, you need to have some type of affidavit and stuff like that. You also need a notarized copy of both parents' passport data page. You just need the first page where you have your face, your lovely face, I hope, and the information about your passport. And again, 3 photocopies. You need to provide a copy of your green card or US visa or naturalization certificate, which will prove that you were or are still a Filipino by the time of the child's birth. You also need 3 photocopies for this. I suppose they are requiring 3 photocopies because 1 copy will be retained by the consulate, 1 copy is going back to you, maybe 1 copy is going to the Philippine Statistics Authority in the Philippines, and the other copy, I'm not sure where it goes. And this one too, I can't help much with this, but if you have filed for a retention or reacquisition of your Philippine citizenship, then you also need to prepare this document. Now, generally speaking, you need to register the birth of your child within 1 year of the birth. Now, if you forgot about that, you were too busy, or you were just thinking about maybe we don't need this, or whatever the reason is, you just need to include an affidavit explaining why the registration of the birth was delayed. You also need a self-addressed USPS priority mail flat rate return envelope. Now, this is very specific, and later in this video I'm going to show you how to get that. It's pretty easy. And then in terms of the fees, you need to pay $25. And here's the tip: if you want to receive it faster, just add $10. So a total of $35 for the report of birth, so that they will process it for you. Make sure that when you pay, you are enclosing a postal money order. They don't accept cash, they don't accept credit cards, they don't accept personal checks. If you, for some reasons, you cannot get a postal money order, the only other option for you is, well, I don't know, maybe a treasurer's check, a manager's check, or a certified check. So that, I don't know the process for getting those, so that's very tedious. So I've talked about needing to photocopy the documents that you need to prepare for the report of birth of your child. However, if you do not have a printer at home, my suggestion is for you to go to your public library. Usually they have a printer where you can print from one of the computers and the terminals there, or you can also ask them to photocopy some things for you. I mean, I did that. I went to our public library and they were able to photocopy for me, and they even gave it to me for free. I don't know why. Maybe I was charming or whatever. Maybe not, but they said that I think 4 copies or less, they were just doing it for free. Another tricky thing that you need to do is to look for a Notary Public, so that the purpose, I suppose, is to make sure that the document and the copy are identical and the same, and that the copy is an original, is based on the original. So where can you find a Notary Public in the US? Here are your options for a Notary Public. Go to your bank. Usually they would have somebody there who can certify that the copy is from the original. The option is for you to go to a UPS store. So I just came from the UPS store to have my documents notarized, so it should be ready to go to the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. And man, it is super expensive. If you want to see the receipt, it says I paid $71 just to get my documents notarized. And so take a look at this. That's the kind of signature and stamp that they will be putting, and they told me that it costs $10 per stamp. So I had to stamp like the 4 report of birth forms, the green card, and the passport copies. So that's a lot. It's expensive. Lastly, you are going to need a self-addressed stamped envelope, and the requirements are pretty clear. They wanted a flat rate envelope, and this is what that looks like. You can get this from your post office, and then you can just put all the documents that you assembled here, and then go to the counter and tell them that you need a self-addressed stamped of this envelope, and I think you will need to pay about $7.95 or $8.25. I don't remember at the top of my head. So how long did the whole process take? We sent the application by mail on May 24th of 2021, and then we received it back on June 11th, 2021. So it took about roughly 3 weeks, but this is the expedited process that's a little bit more expensive by $10. So if you want to have your report of birth document right away, then I suggest paying the extra fee. So if you're fairly new in the US, or you just moved maybe a few weeks or a few months ago, have you ever wondered how much it costs monthly to live here? So if you've been wondering about that, and if you need help, projecting some of your expenses, then watch this video.